Hi, folks. This is Peter Boykin with hashtag Go Right. So part of our hashtag Go Right activism is, and we've been talking about it for a long time now, that we would be interviewing interesting people, fascinating people, and a whole lot of candidates. So for our first interview, there's a great man here I've talked to. He's been very patient while we've set up all this information, and we tried one earlier and it kind of screwed up, but that's what live is. So Merle Rutledge is running for the GOP candidate for VA governor. So we're going to bring him on. We're going to have a candid discussion. He said that we can have a no holds barred discussion. But folks, I'm not one of those gotcha guys. But we will talk. And I don't have a whole lot of material on him right now, but there is a lot out there, and I'm sure he'll let us know. So this isn't one of those traditional interviews. This is one of those open interviews, and it gets good. We won't just cut it off for a commercial. So here we go with our intro, and I'll be right back, and I'll do more introductions to him right away. All right. All right, folks, we're back, and we're just going to go ahead and bring Merle Rutledge in right now so we can have a great discussion. And if you are listening to us on Facebook or on Periscope, please comment over, and we'll try to include those comments as we go. So we're going to bring him in right now. Let me unmute him, and here we go. Hey, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Definitely.
Oh,
nice to be
great.
here.
Good to finally have you in here. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you some social justice. Tell us about where you're from and what you're running for, and a little bit of what you want to talk about today.
Well, let me get this out the way. Of course, I'm the no longer business as usual Republican. I got a little city from New Jersey and mostly country and me from Virginia. I'm running in this race. God called me for me being in this race to get rid of politicians that's out there that's continuing to mess up and screw up America. Right now, my focus is right now on helping people through our crisis with strong leadership and strong guidance. My major objective is for smaller, more efficient government, maintaining our constitutional rights and putting more cement on it compared to those who are trying to take it away brick by brick, being a strong leader, unapologetic, and telling the people face to face, not behind the wall or behind security, that my job is to make Virginia again and to set the tone for the rest of America that liberals ain't taking this country over, but patriots are taking it back.
That's excellent. Now, with that, the issue we can probably see in Virginia is so what area you are normally in that you're running from?
Well, I spent most of my life in the south side of Virginia, which is the Danville and Pennsylvania County area. Now I'm currently residing in the Hampton Roads area here in Virginia Beach, and I'm definitely bringing all sides of the world back here into Virginia Beach and letting, of course, the rest of the state know Rutledge is coming, and it's time to get on the Rutledge train sooner than later.
Well, you probably didn't know. I don't know if you knew about it, but I actually grew up in Danville, Virginia. Before then was a little bit right up the street, Halifax and everything. So I grew up there, so know all about Danville. I know about how the politics work over there, where inside of Danville it's more Democratic, outside in the county is more Virginia, Virginia as in more Republican. The biggest issue that Virginia faces is sort of like California, where the major cities like, say, Richmond or Northern Virginia, they kind of seem to dictate what goes on with the state. I've always brought that point up where it seems like you can have, say here in North Carolina, we have, I don't know how many counties you have in Virginia, but we have 100 different areas in North Carolina. And imagine if you have one or two, and I'm sure we do, that are very highly densely populated. And why would one or two counties get to decide what the whole rest of the state does? Now, would you be in favor of sort of an electoral type system when it comes to Virginia, as like the president has, where it would get a little bit more safe for all the counties in Virginia? Because that might actually work out for you. What do you think?
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's electoral college or it's the popular vote. Rutledge is going to win either way. And I'm not going to make any kind of excuses like the rest of these politicians. Now, if it's more fair for the voters here in Virginia, of course, for electoral college or popular vote, whatever is the best way going forward, I'm going to be all for it. But for me to make excuses and say I want to change up the rules, it doesn't mean I should be in this race. It looks like I should be somewhere else. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, I will be all in support for the best way for people to get elected and their voices to be heard. But either way it goes down the line, I'm still going to run my race no matter what the rules is. And I plan on breaking as many rules as I can in order for me to win. And I'm going to do it fair and square. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a patriot, not a politician. So that means if I got to go the hard way, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, a lot of Republicans or people on the right, that go right and everything, what they've got to understand is the left, they fight dirty. And they fight, and a lot of times they break rules. But there is a way for us to honestly bend the rules, still to legally be able to win and do what we need to do and pull out the corruption. Especially when it comes to election time. When I was running for office in North Carolina, we had to go around to the different polling areas and try to make sure that they weren't breaking election rules and election laws. It's funny how the left will complain about how there's voter suppression and, which they honestly have no problem going to do these rallies. And they have no problem going to church and other functions, or here in North Carolina, they have no problem going to the water park. So, but you can't take one day and go to your nearest church or your school to go vote. So what do you feel about the whole issue of the excuse of voter suppression?
Well, as I look at it, we already know the left lies all the time. See, if they were really about fair elections, they would let the national voter ID law become state law or whatever have you, meaning that they would make sure it's passed here. Now, as far as suppression, it sounds like the Democrats is looking for every single excuse out the book to say exactly if we lose, this is going to be our excuse. First off, we shouldn't have illegals voting in our election. First off, we shouldn't have foreign agents controlling and deciding exactly who's going to be our leadership. That sounds like what China wants. But as far as I'm concerned, they can make every single excuse in the book about why they lost. The major thing and the major objective, one, is making sure Trump wins, making sure the American people elect their leadership, and making sure Rutledge is the next governor of Virginia. Now, they could cry all they want about suppression and all this other crap, but let's be honest about it. They're trying to get dead people to vote in our elections. They trying to get illegals to vote in our elections. They giving out driver's licenses. They trying to do everything to take over here in America so they can go ahead and spread socialism. I've told everybody, we will not become a socialist country. We won't become a socialist state. And by electing me, I'm going to make sure we have voter ID law, even if I got to add e-verify. But our vote is going to mean something for the American people. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. Voter IDs are super important. I mean, you got to have an ID to do pretty much everything. So, I mean, you go buy a lottery ticket, I got to scan my ID, the back of the ID. So I don't know why we can't go into the voter booths, scan our IDs to get our ballot. You know, they could technically roll in machines where we have to scan our ID and it pops a ballot out for us, you know, and then scan it in again after we've done our voting. But, you know, it seems like every time they want to add any kind of little technology or a little added on, it's all this voter suppressing stuff. And now people have said in the past, well, you know, the Republicans, you know, they'll accept the vote if it comes out. But do you feel like if for some crazy reason, especially with this COVID going on, with the Antifa showing up outside of Trump's rallies, with people that they did this during the Hillary and Barack Obama thing, where people came for Barack Obama and prevented Hillary supporters from voting. Now, if there's real voter suppression where people come out and try to block us from actually voting, and you feel like there's a unfair election, do you feel that the Republicans will stand down and say we're okay with the decision if Trump loses? Or do you think there's really going to be a giant, even bigger mess on our hands when it comes to the latter part of 2020?
Well, it's clear. It's going to be a mess if Trump is not elected, because the governors right now, during the pandemic, during the riot, they're all looking for Trump for leadership while flapping their gums and ain't doing nothing for their state. That's why I tell people, you look at your state officials first and your local official first for answers. And when they are just twiddling their thumbs or making up excuses, you know who's really at fault and who's really looking for real leadership. Yeah, there's going to be a problem if Trump isn't elected. But like I said, when I start smelling the slop, I tell 2A, I tell them, I need for y'all to be in the lines too, protecting voters and making sure they are not harassed and intimidated so they can place their vote, which is, of course, a right that we have here in America and people take pride in. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if Trump is not elected, we can go here and see socialism happening all across this country. Churches closing, a 2% political hoax, what I call the China virus or the Kung Flu. It's taking over America and its economy. People can't even go to the beach. People are scared. I won't coach fear. I coach conquering and dominating and making sure people have pride in America and knowing that we don't bow down to a foreign government. Now, we have all these Democrats and liberals and Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Let me tell you this. Rutledge ain't scared of none of them. As far as I'm concerned, I stood up there on the Robert E. Lee statue in Richmond, Virginia, talking directly to protesters. I wasn't at a news reporter stand talking to a single reporter trying to talk tough. No, I was talking tough, walking bad and walking a mud puddle dry in all those different little Antifa or BLM or whatever you want to call it from the rioters and looters face to face. That's how you lead. And look at it like this. I walked away without no problems. That's because they respect leadership.
Well, you know, what was it, about a year or so ago, they came over here right after Charlottesville. They came to Durham, North Carolina, used to live there. And I didn't know there was a statue down there. And they removed, that was a major thing where they removed the statue in one night. I remember I went over there and I talked to about 20 some people there. I read a book out there. I spoke to a lot of them. I told them about making America great again and how it compared to making Durham great again, how they were, bringing Durham back. And they actually understood what I was saying. They tried to compare the destroying of the statue, the Boston Tea Party and stuff. I'm like, no, that's just not the same. And the fact that I don't care about this statue, you really, if you want to remove it, you do it legally. You don't just tear stuff down. I was like, but that's what you have to do. Now, of course, I had some Antifa people who happen to be white and gay and fat showed up to knock my MAGA hat off and ran me kind of out of there. Luckily, I was able to get out. The police didn't do much to save me neither. But after that, I kind of vowed to not really get that deep into the mess alone. Because, I want to go and talk to people, but I don't want to get a martyr. I don't want to become a martyr of it. But what do you feel about this whole, Black Lives Matter movement and the Antifa movement and everything about these, riots and removal of statues? What do you feel about that's going on right now?
Well, since it's a three-pronged question, and I know I answered these questions before, but of course I need to let your viewers know exactly how I'm going to handle it. For one, it wouldn't have been a riot on day two because we would shut things down on day one once people wanted to take peaceful protests into looting and burning our cities and towns here up in Virginia. We wouldn't be acting with fear. I would definitely have called up for the militias to back up the police to make sure these peaceful protests go on. But you ain't going to cause trouble in Virginia and act with madness. We will have law and order. And of course, like Trump said, if we have to dominate, that's what we got to do. But we got to protect our law-abiding citizens. We are not going to give up the day or the night to criminals at all. As far as I'm concerned with the situation, I understand a lot of Trump supporters are getting harassed and all that other stuff. I'll wear my Trump hat anywhere, everywhere I want to go. And nobody touches me, nobody bothers me. It doesn't make me bad because the one thing I can say about me, I talk to any opposition and answer their questions because they are owed me being a leader of this state. They are owed the right to have me face to face and defend exactly what the Republican Party is all about. It's about equality. Now, these leaders in these different groups, whether it's BLM, whether it's Antifa, whether it's white liberal, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they are getting miseducated and misguided. So when they start hearing the truth about history, I tell them straight up, those statues up there, they earned their right in history. And don't ever have a criminal think they are going to take down those who fought for our country in honor, no matter who they are, who contributed to society. Those statues is up there because they earned the right to be there. And I can't use the word because I'm trying to be polite. They earned their right to be there. How dare you burn down the statues? How dare you topple down? What's next? Martin Luther King being toppled down? They went after Arthur Ashe. People need to take pride in their history. They need to know the stories of our grandfathers and those who came before us and our forefathers. Our history preserves that. When we destroy that, we destroy America and our identity. And I'll be sorry, again, let's say it again. You know how I am. But
you can cuss here. It's not a cuss-free zone.
Okay, just making sure because, I try to mix it up, but I know I talk too real. But like I said, our history is going to be protected. Every monument you take down, as me being governor, is going right back up. In order for America to heal, we must clean up the mess and clean up the graffiti off of those statues as well as clean up our city. We cannot have these tags all over our city saying it's been taken over. That ain't good enough for the Virginia people. And when we have weak leaders who allow rioting and looting and promoting it for political benefit, they don't care about America. They don't care about Virginia because they care about destroying exactly what everybody has worked for. Those businesses have a right as a First Amendment right because they are persons too, to display their signs and show that hard work and dedication, you can own something like this. This helps the American spirit and those entrepreneurs knowing that they can go ahead and earn and have a right of free trade and free enterprise. I am not going to let terrorists, I will not negotiate our constitutional rights with terrorists. And that's exactly what it is. There is no such thing. I believe in Dr. Martin Luther King, and everybody knows he's a Republican. He will never stand for this type of protest where looting and rioting is accepted. I won't, 2A won't, and my right to go ahead and defend myself and my family won't. Virginia won't live in fear like these other politicians has coached them. Virginia's going to learn to fight back and maintain the sound principles that our forefathers here who lived in Virginia, who died in Virginia, has taught us moving forward. The Constitution is a living document. It's a document that we all agree to uphold the laws and rules and everything about it. That's what freedom is about. And like you said, you're going to go the right way, but you don't want to go the right way. Like I said, law and order is going to take care of you the other way. We will not have police watch our cities burn. They are going to respond. And the reason why they ain't responding the way they want to is because these cowards of leaders have allowed their cities to be taken over. Not under Rutledge.
They no longer back up their police. That's the biggest problem. They no longer back up their police, and they need to understand being a police officer is a job. And when you go and try to respond and protect yourself, like look at what happened in Atlanta. Okay, that's a giant difference between what happened, in Minneapolis, where we all know what was transpired, which I don't even think that was racism in that case. Like I said, that man knew the other person. That was probably more of a personal conflict. We don't know what happened, and that'll come out. But then in Atlanta, the guy is nice, extremely nice. The officer extremely nice to the guy the whole time. Turns out the man is out for COVID release. He's been drinking. He overreacts, maybe in the back of his mind thinking, oh, God, they're going to kill me. He freaks out. He shoots the thing. He ends up getting killed. What they don't want to talk about is how that officer tried to save the man's life afterwards, tried to resuscitate him, worried about him. The police came up and said, we're going to take care of you. And we're talking about two black police officers who were his, leaders, came up to him and talked to him. And what do? They charge the man with murder. They fire him. It's a complete overreaction before the investigation and everything. And you've got cops walking out because they're saying, well, hell, I can't defend myself. You got good cops say, I can't defend myself. We don't get paid enough. Might as well go become a school teacher, or a bouncer or whatever. I have to do a lot less, or hell, I'll probably make more money as a security guard, not a police officer. And that's a big problem.
Well, like I said, I believe the Rayshard Brooks shooting was justified. I believe that the Atlanta mayor and those politicians, that's why I call them, because patriots went had made that type of call. They decided to legislate or take action on behalf of a mob, not on behalf of justice. Those cops will still be on administrative leave, just like any other officer involved in the officer-involved shooting. But I would not have fired them. We all saw the gentleman turn away. We saw the gentleman make every single mistake. He would be alive today if he had allowed for the arrest and did not resist and then run and turn around with the taser. We are fortunate enough that those officers wasn't dealing with somebody turned around with their service weapon. I don't take politics into account. I take exactly the facts into account. And like I said, I believe Rayshard Brooks shooting was justified. If people want to be mad about it, whatever. I've been in those situations. I've been seeing exactly that type of shooting, and I would support the cops. The cops did the right thing by walking out and protesting, because what they're saying is stop the politics. Our job is to follow the law and make sure we go home to our families just like we want somebody else to go home to theirs. Like I said, I support the police. This was the right call. I tell it like it is and have no care about the fact that I'm ruling on politics compared justice. Justice comes first. Law and order comes first. And I will stand by my police officers.
Yeah, you got to stand by the police officers, because you can't stand by the police officers. I mean, I don't know what else. They make society. Security makes our society. And we have to
Yes.
have that to keep going. And for the officers, involved, at the end of the day, it's like, who's going to respond to phone calls when the politicians won't decide? It really irks me where here locally, when they had our stay-at-home order, we had anti-abortion protesters who went down one of these back alley abortion clinics. They weren't even on the property here. They were, with permission, standing on either the public property or the private property of an adjacent building, and they went to protest. The politicians here went and sent the police, a whole squadron of police officers, to arrest these gentlemen here, and said they were breaking, and they basically said our First Amendment rights weren't essential. But what's funny is, down the line, now we have all these rallies, and they allowed all that to happen, and those turned into violent rallies. And then it really ended up even more crazier when not only was it violent, somebody actually broke the glass out of the Civil Rights Museum here in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was like, okay, it's all over at this point. What the heck's going on now? This is not a Floyd Memorial, stealing out of Targets and burning down restaurants and basically breaking the Civil Rights Museum. I'm like, something ain't right. Now, what's funny is, over here, they started immediately blaming a white supremacist. Somebody white supremacist did it. Turned out it was like an 18-year-old Mexican. So that's how it turned out to be.
Yeah, they'll sell any kind of narrative to justify anything that benefits them on the left. And that's what they think, until those groups realize and get the wake-up call that what you're doing is helping them politically for action or a compromise that they ain't willing to give you. They have lied to us for the last 8 years here in Virginia. What makes you think to those groups that they are going to tell you the truth? Now, as far as it's concerned, it is a double standard with the protests. Like you said, the anti-abortion protests get shut down. But when it came down to these other protests during the same type of COVID political hoax, that's why I call it, then all of a sudden they're attacking them. The same thing with the person who was trying to clean off the graffiti with the monuments. They was trying to stop him, but they wasn't stopping the people who was putting the graffiti up there and destroying our history. Like I said, it's a double standard because of the cowards of leadership. Like I said, this is the time frame we have crisis in leadership. And like I said, under Rutledge administration, we're going to finally get some conservative values, and we're going to get some conservative justice. We will not allow any kind of group or whatever to infringe on our constitutional rights. So help me God.
Now, there's been some statements, and this kind of what your message would be to conservatives. There's been statements that people are complaining. I've had people complaining that the fact that they feel that Donald Trump has been spending so much time trying to get the lowest black unemployment, to appeal to the black, vote. And they get upset because they're complaining that they're not getting enough what they want, and that a lot of this is going on. And then they try to say, why should Donald Trump go after a vote that half the people aren't going to vote for him anyway? Now, what would your message be to those types of conservatives who basically have trying to give up on, because they do that to me, they're basically saying the same thing with the gay vote, So they're trying to say they're giving up that vote. They want to concede the black vote because they don't think it's worth their time. So what would you say to those types of conservatives?
Well, I'll tell you like this. If you want to lose, we're going to keep losing. We gave up 33 seats already here in Virginia. We must get every single vote. We must reach out to every single person and let them know that their vote matters. And we must have the sit down conversation with those groups that's different from us and explain clearly of what we are trying to protect. We cannot afford to give up any votes right now, because then we are expecting a landslide by Democrats who are looking to flood our elections with illegals. Who else is going to help us make it into office and set things straight and make Virginia great again, as well as keep DC with some kind of stable leadership with Democrats out of control? So we must do what we must do to win.
Well, I say it's like the black folks. They need to understand that, like you said, they're being replaced by illegals. Now, it's kind of funny because it might backfire, because most of the Mexicans are Catholic and Catholics in their family. So in reality, they'd be more prime candidates for Republicans. But they'll be drawn in for a little while. It's the same thing as gay individuals. Honestly, if this wasn't for the religious thing that they worry about, they would be prime candidates as Republicans, because most of them have disposable incomes. They were fighting for marriage rights. They want to adopt. A lot of them want family and stuff when it comes down to it. But the Democratic Party always brainwashes them. They brainwash the gays. They brainwash the blacks. They even brainwash a lot of the Latinos and stuff like that, trying to tell them that the Republicans don't care about them. So, I personally would like to reach out to those conservatives myself and say, look, you're playing right into what the left does. So if you're ignoring the migrants, if you're ignoring the black people, if you're ignoring the gays, then we're never going to win. We're never going to win. I agree with you. We have to fight for every single vote that we can get. And it's not identity politics. It's really not identity politics to reach out to the different voters. They need to understand what identity politics is.
Yeah. And my thing is like this. I don't play by the establishment playbook. I don't play by anybody else's playbook. I talk to each and every single voter and show them the respect that's due. And like I said, if people spend more time talking to the voter, they can go ahead and understand their argument, and of course understand that we are the only ones keeping America that today being protected. Right now, I would tell them, the Democrats are the ones putting masks on you. The Democrats is keeping you out of your church. The Democrats is putting this lockdown on you, and they don't even have the evidence to support a lockdown because they ain't even reviewing the actual data. And we can see that with King Ralph up there in Virginia, who's running our state like a tyrant, and these politicians ain't practicing what they preach. But see, I don't play by their rule book, so I don't really care too much about it. Like I said, I'm going to get any and every single vote. I believe my policies work for America. It penetrates the dinner table all the way up to the boardroom. And that's what I got to do. Knock on every single door, travel all over the state. Like I said, I ain't running the same type of race that these politicians are. I'm running the race that these patriots want me to run. And that's for us to get those 2A people who also are Democrat, and they're finding out we lost our guns when we thought we was going to get better health care. Like I said, it takes an unafraid, unapologetic, smash mouth type of candidate. And that only candidate is like me, that's willing to represent the American people and family values that we know today.
Right. I just pulled up your Facebook page so people can see. Yeah. I like your image here. That's a nice weapon. Was that one of those AK-47s or 15s or 20s or whatever the Joe Biden says?
Yeah, a man or woman's gun is their business. That's why I believe in a constitutional carry state and getting rid of no concealed weapons permits, as well as I am a believer of the Castle Doctrine and a fixed stand your ground law. I'm the only candidate that said I will pardon those who violate the governor's laws, unlike the other wannabes that's out there trying to run for governor. So like I said, you're looking for a real 2A candidate that doesn't just go to the safe zones. I went to the battleground zones in them liberal cities and spoke out against their action, the governor's plan face to face, where the fight was harder and it's a lot tougher. In those other areas, the fight wasn't that tough because we love our guns. We love teaching our kids how to shoot. We take pride, and that's exactly what I bring back to the dinner table and what I bring up the tuition. So, like I said, my page represents all family values and lets them know that Virginia has a future that you can believe in.
So I see it says you are a candidate for 2021 governor of Virginia and gets directly involved in exposing con artist drug counselor Michael Ellison of Danville and how he victimized the churches, community, and criminal justice system. So tell me a little bit about that.
Like that. Well, I can tell you like this. In Danville, liberal city, which I call opiate city, it's these counselors who get limited education on what drug or mental health expert by the state and certified, which is ridiculous. And he's just one of the animals. There's plenty of animals like him. You can find those in the Catholic Church or in any other church that prey on kids or prey on young adults who are vulnerable with addictions that doesn't use their skills for what it's intended for. So like I said, I don't care who you are. You screwing over the Virginia people. People can live by the Obama. I hope things get better. No, I don't live by that. I wish you would mess with American families and American children. So that's exactly what he got. So I haven't heard much from him. I talked to the sheriff down there in Danville and the rest of them. They say he doesn't even show up anymore anywhere like he claims, and they found out he's a fraud. And like I said, if you playing the American people, you better hope Merle Rutledge don't find out about it. That's what I'm going to take to the governor's office. So yes, if you got exposed, so be it.
That's what we need. So tell us, who are you running against someone else right now for the candidate, for GOP candidate?
Well, I'm running against a bunch of waste. That's how I look at it, and a bunch of trash. But I'm going to say this, not to attack this opponent. Amanda Chase is the only person who has came out and let me know that she's running. And then we got Democrats, baby killers, and the gun takers, and all of them. They actually run under the same platform, so it ain't nothing different about it. So like I said, I go to Democratic meetings, I go to Republican meetings, and I still tell them all I'm a proud, unapologetic Republican. And I'm telling you exactly why you need to switch parties. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to do exactly what other politicians don't do. I'm going to carry out my promises, and I'm going to deliver. Promises made, promises kept. So that's exactly the mega way.
I'm gonna post. Let's see. I'll here. Go to your page.
Yeah, I think that page is a little bit older, that one specifically, but they all updated. None has changed about my views. I just expanded on them as I listen to the American people and the American voters, and I go after all votes. So that's the difference between me. I'm not special. So that's exactly what I bring to the table and let them know I'm just like you. I bleed just like you. This is the truth. This is the smoke and mirrors that they give you. And I dare anybody to debate me on it. And that's what they're scared of. They're scared to go ahead and face me one-on-one and have a debate in the audience because they know those Democrats will become Republican once they see the truth of the matter. And that's why people respect me, because they know I'm willing to go across the aisle, walk through the doors that others don't walk through, and walk a mud puddle dry in Democratic crap. And that's what I'm doing.
I bet you're going to get you on this about the suspicious news claims and stuff of Bubba Wallace. I get a little conspiracy theory on that. It's still kind of weird that not saying that he did it, but it could have been a Jussie Smollett thing going on. It would be pretty funny if they keep talking about how they're going to make sure that they're going to remove whoever did it and it turns out to be him. I don't know what they're going to do on that. Or it'll turn out to be somebody that worked in his pit crew, because it's like you got millions of equipments. People can't just walk right in there and take put a noose. It just something don't seem right. Nowadays it's like, what is going on? Now you got Ace Speedway up here and Ace Speedway up here in Alamance County. Our governor's going after Ace Speedway when there's a whole bunch of other tracks all over North Carolina he's not going after. I think they were
Well,
smart. Turn it into a quote protest and keep it going. I
well,
know Virginia has right outside of Danville. They got the VIR racing. There's a big racing thing around here. Whole lot of racist enthusiasts. Sorry,
yeah.
joke. Racing enthusiasts.
Well, that's the thing about it. We all smelling that the story fishy that's coming out of NASCAR with the new situation. I'm like you. I agree 100%. Something smells because I said exactly. We don't have a description of suspect. All of a sudden, I don't see nothing about videos or surveillance. I said this don't sound right. You said it perfectly. This smells like Chicago, and we know that's a liberal city, and we can see all the crime that's going on there with the tightest of gun control. But like I said, they plan on committing to action. I think basically he got a little stardom. He wanted to be a celebrity. He wasn't getting all that attention from before. Now he's getting it now. And then all of a sudden went to his head. See, that's what I'm saying. Some people ain't in it for the real reason or the real motive of what's going on. They in it for self. And that's what I said about a lot of these groups. They in it for self. They don't care nothing about who dies or who gets hurt. They just care about how much it benefits them. And like I said, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I know it's got to take a little bit more investigation, but I think we understand that there's a lot of crap being smelled and stinks. So I agree with you. They need to do something. They find out the truth. You apply the same standards. The Republican Party is all about equality. So if you equally lie on this type of thing, I think they should give out equal-handed justice and make sure you ban for NASCAR. Because you ban it, honestly, he should be banned for NASCAR, period, if this thing comes out. And honestly, the Confederate flag been flying around NASCAR for the longest kind of time. I'm like, we need to also be flying more American flags and maybe getting rid of the trash, especially when we find it out, but help us make sure that America comes first.
Well, people got to realize NASCAR was built on moonshine running. We had Wendell Scott from Danville,
Yep.
black,
Yep.
and
Yep.
so it's not like he's the first black person that raced. There hasn't been real racism, and it's just that every time people see a bunch of white people having fun, all of a sudden it's a bunch of racists. They're all doing stuff. They had a Confederate flag. I didn't see too much Confederate flags out there. Most of the people who fly the Confederate flag, they got no real racism, in them. And a lot of times they're doing it for shock value. I've seen some Confederate flags flying in Danville. Kind of gets on my nerves, seeing them. But, especially when you go down that main road right near the paint, area, they get that big Confederate flag. It used to be an American flag. For some reason, it's now a Confederate flag, but it is the last capital of the Confederacy. I'm surprised they haven't been ripping statues down in that city now. But Danville doesn't have much right now. Maybe they'll get that casino going.
That's a big deal.
I'll tell you one thing. They do definitely need to make some sort of changes in racing, because think about it. They spend 500 laps going left and left and left and left. I think they need to change their direction, and they need to start going the other way, and they should be going right, going right, going right, and going right. That's what racing needs to do. They need to start going right, like everybody else. So, and with that segue, let me remind people. So go right. A lot of people kind of compare us to Walk Away, which is a great campaign that Brandon Strzok has done. And hopefully you'll get to meet him. And it's a lot about people walking away from the Democratic Party, walking away from the hate and the mess, and they're walking to the Republicans. Now, where it makes us a little different with Go Right is I've even spoke to the lady up there that took the hydrochloroquine that liked her president. And she's a Democrat up there, I think in Lansing, Michigan. And like I told her, I talked to her on the phone. She actually answered the phone. I was surprised. And I told her, I said, look, I told her about Go Right. I said, look, I'm not expecting you to become a Republican. If you want to become a Republican, that's great. But I do believe in the multi-party system. The problem is with the Democrats is they've gone so far left. They're not even Democrats. They're not even liberals anymore. That's why I quit saying their problem is liberalism. I have no problem with liberals because classical liberalism is about getting you, your free speech, fighting for people, things that we seem to be doing now more on the Republican side as we go toward the middle and try to work on everybody and everybody's causes. And not far right. They call us far right, which is kind of insane considering, of course, we're far right. They keep going left and left and left. So we're moving to the middle. They're moving to the left. They keep calling us far right. So I tell people about Go Right. Go Right's all about, it's a couple of double entendre because you've got the go right as in like Republican or whatever, or going to the right party. But I also tell people it's all about going right, doing right, and being right. And that means if you're going to remain a Democrat, that's fine. You got to have Democrat candidates. Some places where you probably can't ever get a Republican to win because of just the letter by their name. All we can do is hope that we can get a Democrat that hopefully we can get a Democrat. If there's going to be an area where Republican can't win, we can get a sensible Democrat that's willing to work with us. And I call those types of, I know we call Republicans who want to work with the Democrats rhinos, which I hate the word rhino because it's used in so many different terms, and we can't be mad at a Republican who actually wants to work with other people as long as we don't concede everything. But what I usually call Democrats who will work with Republicans, I call them giraffes because they got the long neck, like the long trunk, and they got the body of the donkey, so they're giraffes. So it's rhinos and giraffes. If they can get along and get some things done for America, we'd be okay at the end of the day. But that's how I feel. So Go Right really is all about, getting people, the right candidates, to go right in their thinking and everything, and not always just about going Republican. So I'm glad Brandon Strzok's getting people to walk away. Now we're trying to get them here and stay here and to go right and continue to go right, not just walk away, because the last thing I worry about them is they decide to walk back away again from us if they don't like what they're seeing here. So Go Right's all about independents, libertarians, Republicans, constitutionalists, whatever else you want to call, but we're definitely not going to be about commie-crats or socialists, or far left Nazis, so we're all about, getting people in. So I'm glad that you are one of those good candidates, and I'm glad that we was able to speak to you. If there's some more information you'd like to give us, and I'd definitely like to have you on again. If you can, go ahead, and we've got I try to keep these about an hour, so we got about 12 more minutes.
Okay. And like I said, you touched on a good point. Like I said, the Democratic Party has become a cult, now to the point even those Democrats who endorse or say anything positive about our president, then they are excommunicated or they're ostracized or attacked by their own party. And then they have to deal with those type of consequences. Like I would tell them, stop being soft. You just found out you was a Republican. So it's time to go ahead and make the right decision on behalf of our country and start recognizing and representing the truth compared to the liberal lies that have been fed to you as well as you promoted. Sometimes people have to wake up, and that's why I'm saying we can't give up on certain voters, because if they could wake up, then America could wake up. Now, as far as I'm concerned with that type of situation, I'm not part of no cult. Like I said, you saw that exactly with Tara Reid. All these groups said, oh, we believe all women. Then all of a sudden, when a woman decides to say something against a presidential candidate, all of a sudden, no, the presidency is more to us than our own values and whatever we promote. So what people are saying is the garbage. And it's my chance by me running to put Democrats in that garbage can. When I say I'm the death of the Democratic Party, I mean because exactly when I meet people and I speak to them and get to know them, and they get to know me, that Democrat is no longer a Democrat, but they are a hardcore Republican. So that's what I'm saying. If people want to give up, let them give up. That's for the loser side. This is about America. And I could care less if my post offend you. One of my favorite quotes is, my country is more important than your feelings.
Amen. I mean, I used to worry about what I posted when I run, again, eventually, probably for U.S. I don't know about governor, but I'll probably be running for U.S. Congress or U.S. Senate eventually. And with that, hopefully I'll win. But I want to go in there and fight. And the biggest thing, like you touched on the subject, is when I ran for political office in the midterms, I let everybody know. And I spoke at the Pride, here locally. And I told people, just because I got a letter by my name doesn't mean I'm not for everybody. And that was what I ran on. I'm for everyone, making everyone, making America great, always for everyone. And I'm a representative of all the people in my area. And so it's not just the party, representative. I represent every single individual that would come up to me. And I think you've touched on that as well. That so what would you say to what ways? Think about what ways have you reached out to all the community right now? What are you? How are you getting the word out there right now?
Well, I love word of mouth. Of course, before all this COVID stuff, of course, the shutdown that when it had happened under me, we all been using social media. But my audience, I'm talking to Hispanic groups, I'm talking to Chinese groups. I don't care what group you are, because like I told them, I'm going to answer your question. When I talk to you, I said no holds barred, because people are wanting a patriot, not a politician giving out answers, and they used to it. Anybody looking at things now that's 35 and older, they have had their door knocked on by somebody who did not do what they are going to do. And this is the first time they've seen a candidate that ain't caring about the establishment, ain't playing by other people's rules, but somebody who's talking to them directly face to face and not above them. So my biggest advice to those that are running is to make sure that you understand that it's a right to disagree, and people are losing that right to disagree. Now people or parties is making their decision for them. Like I said, I know how I think, and I don't care about how others think, but I will listen to, of course, their suggestions, because it may be something they say about policy that helps strengthen my policy that may not go against their party or go against the Republican Party. But we can't do that if we just sit around on our butt and hoping that the vote or the newspapers win those elections like other candidates do. Like I said, I'm not playing by the same rules. I'm talking tough, walking tough, and doing exactly what other candidates ain't doing. And that's the reason why I'm going to win. Because the other candidates want to play by that old playbook, certain voters don't matter, good. Because that 3% that you decide that doesn't matter is exactly what's going to get me over the finish line. So that's what I'm going to say. We're Republican. I'm going to die Republican, and I'm going to represent Republican. And I don't have to compromise to nobody, but we do have to speak to people, because you don't realize, a lot of people don't realize how uneducated and uninformed a lot of people are about their candidate, because they're so busy looking at the party. Right now, I'm making sure the party is being exposed so they can look deeper into their candidate. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
So to kind of finish this out, give us some information like where they can reach you, how they can donate to you, and honestly, how I'm basically doing these is, if people donate to you, we're hoping that they'll say that they donated because they saw this program. So if you reach out to everybody, I'll send you the links and everything. We'll have the link to this video, and we'll ask everyone that's seen this show to let us know that they donated because they saw this. And we want to try to put like a kind of and if they go and follow us and everything, especially if they donate to this podcast, that we're going to put a portion of that into boosting these videos and things that help the candidates out. So it helps us both. So go ahead and give us some of your information, your websites, and how they can contact you.
Okay. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Parler. A lot of conservatives is using it because Facebook keeps attacking us for even putting a Bible verse online. I don't understand that. Like I said, Instagram, LinkedIn. I use WordPress a lot to make sure people are updated on my views as it evolves, so you know exactly what I'm thinking during those time frames and what direction I'm going in. And I want you to speak up and help me out. I want you to say when you disagree on something so we can talk it out, because that's what other politicians ain't doing. And like I said, our funding for campaigns, even for Republicans here in Virginia, is low compared to what the Democrats is doing. And people are talking about they want to win elections, they're going to do whatever. Well, we need for you to get involved. It doesn't matter whether it's a penny or a few dollars. The fact is, candidates in Virginia need your help. One of the things I did delay because of COVID is due to the fact we got Republicans running in the primaries right now. So I did tell a lot of people, don't worry about my campaign until after the primaries is over, so we can go ahead and make sure we have enough Republicans on a ticket, strong enough to win, and then moving forward. But now we can't play that game. Trump, we just saw it today, 80.1 million raised by Biden. And now Biden all of a sudden has a new war chest. Keep doing this and think we can wait and delay on helping Republican candidates. We need to be proactive and involved now, not later. So that's me. If you want to donate, I have numerous donation links. And like I said, you have a link right there for Go Right. And we need for Republican candidates to be out there. And we need your group, especially, continuing to put a platform out there. It's getting limited day by day. And like I said, I ain't going to make excuses. Like I said, the more you donate to me, the more I drive around, the more I can make speeches, the more I can buy literature. That's what all candidates need at this time period. Like I said, we got to get on the ball. Some people are talking about the Republican, but ain't acting or doing stuff that the Republicans need at this time frame. We are in elections of our lifetime right now and for our generations. If you can't help us out now, imagine America a year later. And when I tell people a year later and they see how America is now, it's scary. Like I said, you need strong leaderships to open up Virginia, open it up responsibly, and no longer have business as usual. And that's exactly my motto.
Well, I tell people, it's like, look, it's 2020, and it's at least 20 for 2020. Doesn't have to be $20. It could be 20 people. If you want to give $20 to Trump, you know, people want to donate so much to the RNC and Trump, they need to also worry about their local candidates. They should be matching that donation, you know, because, you know, Trump does have a huge war chest. He needs it, but us on the local level are just as important, and they have to donate. And so I tell people, for 2020, maybe find 20 people. That can be a mixture of candidates. That could be a mixture of podcasters, even if it's $1 per each. I used to have 106,000 followers on Twitter. If every one of them donated me $1, talk about how much I would be, you know what I'm saying, when I was running. I was like, I don't care. No amount is too small. And a lot of people is like, oh, I don't have a lot of money. I'm like, it adds up. Every dollar adds up.
Yes.
And I think if it's under $20, you don't even have to report it. I think that's how the rule normally is. So it's like they can donate $1 or $2, and it really kind of just gets in the campaign. But just tell people, if you want to get done, if you can't go out, because that's the biggest excuse that a lot of people give. I can't go out. I can't do a rally. I don't want to worry about losing my job, which that happens. I've lost jobs over my political thing. I can't post too much. But if you can't do all that and you got a little bit of money, even a little bit, you know, instead of buying a Happy Meal that day, go ahead and donate to somebody. You know, help us out. Help us all out. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because right now the Democrats is doing their thing and they are pushing it hard. Every single email is contribute, no matter how small or petty their issue is. And like I said, if we're going to fight fire, we need to get candidates funded, those who can reach out across the aisle to different groups, different backgrounds, and bring in new voters. But we keep running these politicians that have been in office for the last whatever, it should be term limited, then that's what we're going to get. We're going to get worse than gun taking. The next time they probably going to take our guns and make sure we don't get them back. So we need to be locked and loaded for November, locked and loaded with helping our candidates any kind of way, and locked and loaded and making sure that the Republican Party is ready to take on the Democratic machine, because it is a machine. And like I said, that's what we're doing, fighting back and doing what we have to do for love of America, country, family, and more first.
Amen. Is there anything else? Final words. We'll have you back on very soon.
Well, my final words is about this.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my final words is like this. Like I said, the most important election of our lifetime. We have a chance to put patriots in, not politicians.
Billions and billions and billions and billions and billions.
Trump is trying to interrupt us. Sorry.
Like there's some sound in the background.
Go ahead.
Yes.
You know, Trump, he's trying to interrupt us. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to be all over the state. Even candidates is going to be all over the state. Like I said, you decide to donate to campaigns, if you see people in person, to make sure don't feel uncomfortable if they ask you who your employer is. That is just a formality that candidates have to ask with donations. But like I said, this is the most important election of a lifetime. I want Republicans to be fired up. I'm coming all across the state. And like I said, make sure you check out my platform. So like I said, socialism is what we're living in right now. I know you don't like it, nor does anybody else in America like it, because they found out what it is. But they need strong leadership to spread out the message and educating voters about what socialism is. And right now, the Republican Party can win. Like I said, I'm not taking no for an answer, and we need to have strong leaders who are not going to take. We already saw what politicians did, and that's what we are living in right now. That's your answer for a career politician. Look at your life right now. Put a patriot in, and let's bring Virginia again. And that's my name, Merle Rutledge, and I'm running for 2021 Virginia governor, unapologetic and proud Republican, and don't care how people feel about it or others feel about it. I'm going to spend my time telling the truth and being a patriot. I love America, and God bless America.
Thank you. And if you can, look at the camera for me and tell me, I want you all to hashtag Go Right for America.
I want you all to hashtag Go Right for America.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping to get a lot of people to say that so we can do a good video of that. So that's kind of our thing. Everybody, Arsenio Hall used to have everybody sign the wall. I wonder where that wall went. But I thank you for coming in here on the interview and putting up with me for the first interview and getting everything kind of situated, learning that learning curve on how this works and everything. But I thank you for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and do my little closing video and do a greeting. So thank you very much for tuning in. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me on here, and God bless.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Billions and 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 billions.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Remember, folks, it's time to join the Go Right movement. It's time to hashtag Go Right now, and we need your full support. Freedom is not given. Freedom is earned. Freedom is fought for. And freedom comes with a price. The only way to change is if the citizens demand it. Go right activism, folks. Hashtag go right. I want you to go right. I want you to do right. And I want you to be right. So why don't you join us at goright.us. That's hashtag go right. God bless for tuning in. God bless that you tuned in, and peace, everybody. Don't forget, if you're in the Virginia area, help out Merle. He's going to need your help. Peace.